Hello guys, Sir Grindalot here. So, you got 9 stars on the 9th floor because you followed my previous video, and you want to get 9 stars on the 10th floor as well, you are in the right place. But, small disclaimer, the 10th floor monster composition will change soon, because according to leaks, the 10th floor will change with the 3.1 Abyss rotation. That will be the first time in quite some time that the 10th floor changes. So, this video will be up to date for maybe a month and a half, more or less, from the time I upload it, but after that I will upload a new one, updated video. As we did with floor number 9, for floor number 10, we want to try to approach it based on players who have a limited roster of characters available, maybe not all of them are very well built, you are lacking some 5-star weapons, so I will be using teams that are fairly easy to compose. And a thing that I mentioned during the floor 9 guide is that sometimes floors are a DPS check, meaning that you just have to have well-invested characters that can dish out a lot of damage, while some floors really reward you for having the correct elements when facing them. So let's check what chambers do we have to face here on the 10th floor. Here the only thing that should really activate your almonds is this guy, the Electro Abyss Mage, because everything else is what I consider random trash. This guy, yeah, you would like maybe a Geo character to remove the shield quickly, but it's not really necessary. So we keep in mind that we would like either Pyro or Cryo in the first half. Second chamber, again mostly trash. We really want to focus on this guy, because he's a healer. These two guys can be fairly obnoxious if they can build their shield and you don't have the correct characters to handle them. We don't really need to worry about the element for this guy, we just want to deal a lot of damage. Here we would like to have either Cryo, Hydro or Geo. So we really have some hints. Chamber 3. For this guy, we really want Pyro or Cryo. For this guy, we want Cryo. It will make your life a lot easier, to the point that a well-built Keia could basically solo the second half. So, to sum up, first half, you want Pyro or Cryo. Second half, you really want Cryo and maybe a little bit of Geo. So, a new player who has a limited roster of characters, what could I do? The way I want to approach this floor is the following. In the first half we are going to play Shanli and Ember. Both characters, by now you got them for free, because, well, Ember of course, but also Shanli you got it clearing floor 7. And in the second half we want Keia and Noelle. The rest is a little bit up to you. I'm currently playing a lot this guy / Gal, depending on which one you picked. It can fit in either half, is not particularly relevant. Right now in the first chamber we don't have any healer, so it will be nice to put Barbara there, if I could find her. My Barbara is very low level, there you go. And in the second half you can essentially fill the rest of the team with whoever you have slightly decently built. Among the starting characters, my Lisa is level 20, she's not built at all, so I will not be carrying her. Someone that I enjoy carrying with me is Rosaria, because she provides good off-field damage, good energy regeneration. Maybe you will not have Rosaria, but if you leveled up Lisa a little bit and you have any other 4-star character, you can just fill the team. I will be just using 3 characters to make up for the fact that maybe you will not have Rosaria. Regarding the build of the characters, I will show them at the end of the video, but all of this is fairly accessible for everyone. All the weapons rely on energy regeneration, Barbara has thrilling tails, Shanling has the catch, meaning that everything that you see on my characters in terms of damage is actually fairly low. The first half of this chamber is a bit similar to the first half of the first chamber in floor 9, meaning that there is a little bit of walking around. If you are using Ember in your team, you should try to keep her burst available for the second wave of monsters, because the Electro Abyss Mage has an Electro Shield, and Ember's burst basically removes the shield just by herself, and it's extremely valuable. That was a very embarrassing beginning, by the way. We will never talk about the beginning of this chamber ever again. And as usual, the idea is you apply Hydro and you let Pyronado hit. You apply Hydro and you let Pyronado hit. It's nice to have a walk around the arena every now and then. Because there are times when you have a good amount of characters available in your roster that a lot of Abyss Chambers you just one-shot them, and it's nice to have this kind of team again. Here, what I'm trying to do is save all my burst for the second half. Is something that, especially in floor 11 on 12, can sometimes give you an extra star. Because more often than not, when you have all the burst available, you're going to cut your clearing times quite significantly. So it's usually better to time things properly, so that you use burst when they're really, really needed, rather than when you have just one dude to kill on the map and you don't care about it too much. Okay. The big guy was being healed, and by big guy I mean the Electro dude, but we managed to out-DPS the healer. If your DPS is not high enough, you may need to focus the healer. That depends on your team, your characters, and how you want to approach the floor. It may take a few tries in the beginning. Here, I'm trying to save all the bursts that I can, as well as trying to give Xianling a little bit more energy for the next floor. You don't need to worry too much about the timing of the first two floors, because you just need to have 5 minutes left. Here with the help of Noel we get rid of a small healers very, very quickly. And then we can focus on the big guy. As you can see, the bursts in Mistima are available all the time because I'm using all Favonius weapons. It's something that I definitely recommend you to pick up along the way if you can, because having this kind of energy regeneration can be extremely valuable in a lot of teams. Because of course we like to see big numbers, but you can only see big numbers if you can use the burst. So having 1 or 2 characters with Favonius / sacrificial weapons in your team can help you a lot. Second chamber, as we talked about in the very beginning, there will be a healer dude which is going to spawn around here, the Fatui chubby guy. You want to focus that guy as much as possible because you don't want him to heal. It would be very, very obnoxious. Okay. The rest of this chamber is very simple. You just play it as usual, because there are no more healers. There is just this guy who can deal quite a bit of damage, so if you don't have healing slash shields, you may need to pay a little bit of attention to what he does. Because the amount of damage he can do, it's pretty sneaky. More often than not, he will do nothing for quite some time, and then suddenly you get one shot. And he can be a little bit annoying. This half doesn't have anything in particular to worry about, especially if you can kill the guy who would like to build the shield quickly enough. If you cannot, you will have to deal with the shield, which will take away a bit of your time, but as you can see, we have 8 minutes and a half left right now, and we only need 5 minutes left. So if you don't have enough DPS to kill the two shielded guys, you just make sure that you bring a Hydro character or Noelle, or whoever you have available, so that you can remove the shields a bit at a time and then kill them in time. Okay, third chamber. Now, it would be nice to have all the bursts available, but we don't have them because we use them at the end of the second chamber to speed up things a little bit, which was not even necessary. If this happens to you, what you could do after getting all the stars in the second in the second chamber, you could restart the run, do the second chamber very, very slowly. It doesn't matter if you are below the required time, but making sure that you have all the energy at the beginning of this floor. This guy is a healer, can be a little bit annoying, so we want to get rid of him as soon as quickly. We have Ember's Burst, life is good. Ah, we got hit there. We lost some energy. This guy drains energy. He is a huge pain in the ass. But we recovered relatively quickly. Okay, we now have to deal with the Electro Shield. Haha, our energy was drained again. Rip over all our hopes and dreams. Oh, there is Ember's Burst. Look how much damage it does. That was a nice chunk of the shield being removed just by Ember alone. Shield is almost down. Now we're a little bit tight on time, but the team that we have here is very good to handle the Hydro dude and his friends, so we don't need to worry about it at all. After setting up everything, we can use Noelle to deal damage while the guy is not in shield form. And remember that Noelle's burst does not expire if you change character. So right there I refreshed everyone's abilities, and she was still swinging around. And now it's time for Kaya, and in my case Rosaria, to shine. Because the dude will be stuck there essentially forever, unable to move most of the time. And our cryo damage abilities will just get rid of the shield and kill him. And that was it. We got 9 stars. GG. So the way we did it was with Ember using a Favonius Warbow, some random artifacts from the instructor set that even new players will have, and her talents not particularly invested. I have a few constellations, but they don't make a huge difference for her. Then we had the Barbara. My Barbara is very low investment. She was using a Thrilling Tales. She was missing an artifact and I just noticed it. She has all the constellation and her talents are like this. We then had the Shanling. My Shanling is built very, very poorly. In general, because I don't play her very much, but also because I don't want to give her some absolutely insane artifacts for an Abyss showcase that is aimed at newer players. And the other character that we had here was the main character, who I will find eventually, right here. She was using a sacrificial sword, but a Favonius sword would be fine as well, but really any weapon you have available is okay. Although I like a weapon with energy regeneration. Artifacts using the new set, couple of constellations, talents are like this. If you don't have other characters available, I would advise using her either Electro, or Anemo, or Dendro. They are the 3 options that I like the most, although even Geo is pretty okay as well. In the second half, we were using Manuel with very, very good artifacts, but only a Favonius Greatsword, which reduces her damage output a lot. If you have a more DPS-oriented Greatsword and artifacts that are not as good as mine, or, you know, you don't have Double Crown, you don't have Constellation 6, you will still be doing decent amount of damage with her. But the point of Noelle for early game players is the fact that she has a kit that is very, very useful because she does a lot of things. She provides a shield, she provides healing, she has a claymore that can be useful for a lot of things. And since she's a Geo character, she's very good at dealing with Geo shields. So depending on what characters you have available and how much you like Noelle, you can decide whether you want to build her or not. In the second half, if instead of Noelle we had Fischl or some other character, it would have been absolutely fine. And you may notice that I have not included Bennett in any team, because Bennett is busted. If you have Bennett on either side of the Abyss, you're playing easy mode. So I would definitely suggest you to get the Bennett. The other 2 characters that were played in the second half were Keia, very low investment, low level, whatever artifacts, a few constellations, pretty low talents. He's a very good character though. And my Rosaria, who is usually built very, very well, but today not really. She had a Favonius Lance, 4 pieces Emblem of Severed Fate. I have all her constellations, and her talents are like this. So apart from the constellations, these are teams that are very easily achievable for any player, even very, very new players. And the lack of constellations can be made up for you by investing more in your characters, meaning leveling up their talents, spending a bit of time building artifacts, and making sure that you get artifacts that can be useful for you even in the future. Because sometimes people will point out to the fact that a character like Ember very rarely has a key spot in most of the teams that are used in the 12th floor of the Abyss or in other very demanding parts of the game. So if you give her some artifacts that require very little investment from you, things that you pick up along the road, you will basically not be spending a lot for her in terms of Mora, in terms of artifact resources, and all of that. And she will still help you in the beginning of the game. Of course, if you had Bennett in the first half and you were playing Bennett, Shanling, Barbara, and a completely random character, the first half would have been a joke. But again, it depends on what characters you have available. So the important part of floor 10 is use Pyro and or Cryo in the first half, and use Cryo in the second half. Again, depends on what characters you have available. As I mentioned in the beginning, this guide will be updated in a few weeks, because once the 3.1 patch is released, floor 10 should change according to leaks. And when we get a new rotation even for floor 11 and 12, I will make a video about those for players who have smaller rosters and lower character investment. Bye guys, take care.